Welcome to It's About Time. And thank you for watching us. Please subscribe for more content and let's dig into the Victorian era, a time of empire, invention, and elegance, at least on the surface. But beneath the polished boots and velvet gowns was a world of crushing poverty, child labor, disease, and despair. Life was short, brutal, and often unfair. Yet somehow, amid the suffering, people discovered rituals and secrets to strengthen their bodies and minds. Today, we uncover the harsh realities of the Victorian life, the poor, the upper class, and the surprising ways people kept themselves well. Life in Victorian Britain was often a fight for survival. Child labor was among the harshest realities. Imagine a 7-year-old crawling through a narrow coal shaft, choking on black dust, guiding horses deep underground, or picking cotton threads in deafening mills. Injuries were common, and safety was an afterthought. Children lost fingers, eyes, or even their lives, all for pennies a day. The working poor lived in slums, rows of damp, crumbling tenements where 10 or more people crammed into 1 or 2 rooms. Disease was everywhere. Cholera spread through contaminated water, tuberculosis ate away at lungs, and smallpox scarred faces beyond recognition. There were no vaccines, no antibiotics. Illness often meant death. And if you were a woman, life was brutal in its own way. Domestic abuse was rarely questioned. Legal rights were almost non-existent. Childbirth carried a terrifying risk: infections, hemorrhage, or death. Widows and abandoned women often ended in prostitution just to feed their children. Even those in the upper classes were not immune. Corsets crushed ribs and restricted breathing, and doctors prescribed arsenic and mercury as medicines, slowly poisoning their patients. This was the brutality of daily Victorian life: exhaustion, overcrowding, exploitation, and the constant shadow of disease. Exercise and the body under strain. Exercise wasn't optional for the poor, it was survival. Factory work, laundry scrubbing, agriculture work, coal hauling. These tasks were building strength but wrecked joints and lungs. Bodies were used up young. But the middle and upper classes saw exercise as fashionable and medicinal. Calisthenics, fencing, boxing, and gymnastics filled gymnasiums. Women took up dancing, horse riding, and archery. Schools introduced Swedish gymnastics, the ancestor of physical education to improve posture and prevent disease. Above all, walking was king. Victorians believed fresh air and movement in green spaces could cure melancholy, strengthen the lungs, and prevent consumption. Families strolled in parks, couples promenaded in public gardens, and doctors prescribed seaside walks as therapy. Well-being secret. Unlike our sedentary modern lives, walking and movement were ingrained into daily routine. For Victorians, exercise wasn't just fitness. It was survival, socialization, and medicine. The mind in a harsh world. Mental health was not understood. Melancholia, hysteria, and nervous disorders were labels slapped onto anyone struggling. Treatments were harsh: ice baths, isolation, or confinement in grim asylums. But outside the institutions, ordinary people crafted their own mental health rituals. Reading was a powerful escape. Penny novels, Dickens serials, poetry, stories provided relief from brutal realities. Writing in diaries or letters was deeply therapeutic. People poured emotions into ink, releasing fears and hopes onto paper. Famous Victorians like Charles Darwin and Florence Nightingale kept daily journals as a way of sorting thoughts and regulating emotions. Nature was medicine for the mind. Families picnicked in green fields, children played in meadows, and convalescents were sent to the seaside to take the air. Victorians believed sea breezes healed weak lungs and forest air calmed the nerves. For the wealthy, spas and hydrotherapy promised peace. Bathing in mineral waters or cold plunges were thought to reset the nerves and cure anxiety. Also, involving in activities like sewing, painting, playing piano, gardening, and afternoon tea was their way of escaping daily stress at the time, similar to mindfulness today. Well-being secret. Reflection, ritual, and immersion in nature acted as early forms of mindfulness, centering the mind even in a brutal age. Hygiene, disease, and survival. In early Victorian times, bathing was rare. Soap was costly, water scarce. Poor families might bathe once a year, often all using the same grimy water. Lice and fleas, skin rashes, and infections were constant companions. But by mid-century, hygiene became a public health mission. Sewer systems were built. Laws required ventilation in housing. Public bathhouses opened for the poor. The wealthy enjoyed elaborate hygiene rituals. Servants filled tin tubs. Perfumed soaps and powders masked odors. Linens were changed weekly. Well-being secret, air and ventilation. Victorians believed bad air spread disease. They threw open windows, aired bedding, and walked outdoors to breathe cleaner air. Though they misunderstood germs, this obsession with ventilation actually reduced illness indoors. Remedies. From herbal wisdom to dangerous cures. Medicine was primitive, so people relied on what they knew. Herbs were staples. Peppermint soothed stomachs. Chamomile calmed nerves. Lavender eased headaches. Some of the most common remedies included bee balm, used as an antiseptic, diuretic, and for colds and insomnia. Calendula, known for its wound healing, anti-inflammatory, and antiseptic properties. Hyssop, prescribed for respiratory issues, digestive problems, and as a salve for wounds and bruises. Foxglove, a powerful and potentially poisonous plant whose compounds are used in modern heart medications. But there was a darker side. Patent medicines promised miracles but contained opium, mercury, cocaine, or arsenic, which were ultimately toxic. Mothers gave soothing syrups laced with morphine to teething babies, quieting them, sometimes forever. Well-being secret. Despite the dangers, herbalism and natural tonics laid the groundwork for modern holistic medicine. Many remedies, ginger for nausea, chamomile for sleep, honey for inflammation, are still trusted today. Community and social well-being. Isolation could be deadly. The poor depended on neighbors for survival. They shared food, cared for each other's children, offered comfort in grief, and cared for each other when ill. Churches provided charity, while street games gave children joy in bleak surroundings. The wealthy had clubs and societies. Gentlemen debated politics in exclusive lounges, while women gathered for sewing circles, painting, and tea. These connections provided mental resilience, belonging, and stability. Well-being secret. Community was as essential as food. In slums or salons, people found strength in togetherness. Nature, the silent healer. In the brutality of industrial cities, nature became a lifeline. Victorians fled to parks, countryside, and seaside resorts whenever possible. Public parks were deliberately designed as green lungs for polluted cities. Doctors prescribed mountain air for tuberculosis and sea bathing for weak bones. The wealthy built grand gardens, filled with roses and medicinal herbs. The poor found scraps of nature, fields at the edge of town, allotments to grow vegetables, or even potted plants at the bottom of windows. Nature wasn't just scenery, it was medicine. Fresh air, greenery, and the sound of waves gave relief to weary bodies and anxious minds. Well-being secret. Their instinct to seek nature for healing echoes what science confirms today. Time outdoors reduces stress, strengthens immunity, and lifts mood. We have lost our ability to balance the mind when we disconnected with nature. The Victorian diet. The Victorian diet. Survival and strength. Food reflected class. For the poor, the diet was lacking quality or quantity. Bread, potatoes, porridge, tea, sometimes a scrap of bacon or pickled herring if wages stretched. Malnutrition was rampant. Rickets bent children's legs, scurvy rotted gums, and hunger gnawed constantly. Meat was often a Sunday luxury. Vegetables were seasonal and cheap ones. Cabbage, carrots, turnips, onions. Many were boiled into soups or stews to stretch portions. Street food was quite popular for people working day and night outside their homes, such as meat pies, baked potatoes, oysters, cheap at the time, or pea soup sold by vendors. But their food was simple and unprocessed. Seasonal vegetables, oats, and homemade bread contained more natural nutrition than modern fast food. And tea, boiled water infused with leaves, was safer to drink than the filthy water that killed thousands. The wealthy dined lavishly. Banquets with roasted game, oysters, puddings, and creams filled their tables. Yet they followed strict rituals, meals at set times, slower dining, and smaller portions than modern feasts. This pacing aided digestion and discipline. They did not lack pies, jam, meats, eggs, biscuits, pastries, cheese, and for the upper class we can also include imported exotic fruits, wines, and spices, as well as a variety of cakes included in the afternoon tea, and they had more access to fresh products compared to the poor. Well-being secret. Fermented foods, pickles, ale, and cider acted as natural probiotics, unknowingly boosting gut health. Vinegars, herbs, and tonics supported immunity, offering resilience and strength in an age without modern medicine. In the face of brutality, the Victorians remind us of something timeless. Well-being isn't about ease, it's about resilience, rhythm, and the human instinct to find healing, even in the darkest times. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment for feedback, and press subscribe to support the channel, so we can uncover more captivating stories and facts from the past. It's about time.